Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
This is Duck Insider.
Duck's gonna pick it up, and here we go. Got him deep. He's open. He's got it. And he's gone.
How about that?
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
Duarte pulls up, 3-ball. Bang!
LJ Figueroa!
Oregon goes back-to-back for the fourth time in the last 6 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
Foley 3. Goal! Foley ball. 3 is good. Savali. Wait, pow. Yeah, boom.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
What a weekend.
We're just getting started.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Spring game eve. The Ducks getting ready to head to Autzen Stadium for the annual spring game. And man, after no spring game last year, it is just good to be back. But I wish that there were going to be fans at Autzen Stadium. Unfortunately, the Ducks will be playing in front of, a lot of empty seats, at least a lot more empty seats than we anticipated. That's with Lane County moving back into the extreme risk category. We hope that next fall it doesn't look like this. But as a result, the Ducks are going to be getting work in, televised on Pac-12 Network. And, of course, we'll have the radio broadcast here on the Oregon Sports Network with Jerry and Jorgie up in the booth. A reminder, though, that the annual spring game is usually a benefit for Food for Lane County as well. And the virtual food drive, I'm the first to say I probably haven't talked about this as much as I should. The virtual food drive, you can go to foodforlanecounty.org. And remember, Coach Cristobal talked about it a little bit yesterday. $1, just $1 equals 3 meals for the community. Huge impact for the community, and I really would encourage everybody to go to foodforlanecounty.org, as that's what this spring game is supposed to be about, right? Normally, when everybody would be in the stadium, you'd be dropping off your canned goods and your non-perishable food items, and man, it goes such a long way. So really encourage all of you to head to foodforlanecounty.org, and especially if you're going to be tuning in, you're tuning in virtually instead of being there. Well, this is a way to do the spring game and help out as we normally would in a regular year. What to watch in the spring game as well. We're going to talk about that. Jerry Allen, the voice of the Ducks, will join us as he and Jorgie will have the call tomorrow. And, it's going to be really cool, too. Today, we're going to hear from Joe Salave'a, Oregon defensive line coach. He met with the media just a little while ago, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. And special teams coordinator and tight ends, Coach Bobby Williams, also met with the media today. We have both of those interviews for you coming up. And we'll also talk some tight ends, because Spencer Webb, Patrick Herbert, going to hear a few comments from them. Popo! Man, I'm looking forward to seeing what Popo does as he develops moving forward. We're going to talk with Popo coming up, and Isaac Slade-Matautia as well. And a full weekend preview is in front of us because, it's still a busy weekend of Oregon athletics with baseball in action tonight, a 5:45 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Our buddy Trevor Williams is going to have the call across OSN. You can tune in on the Oregon Sports Network station of your choice, also via the Pepsi Go Ducks app, or you might be tuning in on the TuneIn app. GoDucks.com/live audio has you covered. You can always head to GoDucks.com/radio to find out where you can tune in your market. Also, though, today Oregon softball is on the road at Arizona State, going to be on Pac-12 Network, and our buddies at KWVA, the student radio station, going to have the call with a 5 o'clock start time for Oregon softball against ASU. How about the NFL draft last night, huh? Congratulations to Penei Sewell, became the highest drafted offensive lineman in Oregon football history on Thursday when the left tackle was taken 7th overall by the Detroit Lions in the first round of the 2021 NFL draft. Awesome. Sewell is the 19th player in program history and the 3rd offensive lineman to be selected in the first round of the NFL draft, joining Kyle Long in 2013. He went number 20 overall. And Tim Drugas, 1972, went number 22. He is the 9th top 10 pick ever to come out of Oregon and the 5th since 2013. The 5th top 10 pick at Oregon since 2013. Oregon has now had a first-round pick in back-to-back years for the 3rd time in program history, with quarterback Justin Herbert going 6th overall in the 2020 NFL draft. And this marks the 2nd time in the since 2015-16, I should say, the Ducks have had a top 10 pick in back-to-back drafts. Sewell was dominant in his 2 seasons, protecting Herbert's blind side. A lot of people thought maybe he would end up in San Diego. Well, not San Diego. Can't say that anymore. Maybe he'd end up in Los Angeles with the Chargers, but instead Penei Sewell going to the Detroit Lions. And, man, gets reunited with Tyrell Crosby. Oh, man, two of the best offensive linemen we've ever seen, both getting picked by Detroit. Awesome stuff. Congratulations to Penei Sewell, and that's just going to be so, so cool. We're going to talk with Jerry Allen, the voice of the Ducks, here in just a moment. First, though, how about it's official? Tobiah was asking yesterday, hey, is it official for Oregon women's basketball with the assistant coaches? Well, it is now. Oregon women's basketball head coach Kelly Graves added a familiar face to his staff today, announcing the hiring of Jackie Naird-Hairston as an assistant coach. Welcome back, Coach! Oregon's Director of Creativity and Video during the 2017-18 season. Naird-Hairston returns to Eugene after spending the last 2 seasons as an assistant coach at Arizona, where she helped lead the Wildcats to the 2021 National Championship game. But she's coming back, and we're pretty darn excited. She's a great recruiter, great coach, and really just a great, great human being. That's the news from Oregon women's basketball today. It's spring game eve, NFL draft. I think we might hear Javon Holland's name. I thought we might hear Javon Holland's name called last night. You know who called Javon Holland's name quite a bit? Jerry Allen. Voice of the Ducks is here virtually via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. Jerry, it's going to be great to see you in the booth at Autzen tomorrow, though. How are things, huh?
Oh, man, I'm looking forward to it. Am I on? You got me? I can't hear myself. Okay, good. Yeah, this has been, it feels like we didn't have a season last year. I mean, I know we had games, but it was so disjointed. I feel like we're getting together for the first time in over a year.
Yeah. You know what I realized, Jerry? Scott and I had a couple of epiphanies today, and you're going to laugh at this. One, in September of this year, I will have lived in Oregon and been working with the Ducks for a decade. I think that's a milestone.
Wow.
Well done. Well done.
Scott says well done. I mean, yeah, I don't know. So the reason I bring that up, though, is it feels like it's been a decade since we've been at Autzen Stadium.
It does.
So yeah, I'm with you. I mean, Jerry, look, we all know that's unfortunate that fans won't be in there with us and seeing what this team is going to look like, but I'm really excited to see what this team looks like, Jerry. I mean, what are your thoughts? Where are your eyes going to go for this spring game?
Well, I still feel like last season was almost like spring practice. Like they had, like 15 days of practice and 6 or 7 games. It just didn't feel like a real season. So I feel like we're starting all over again, although I'm sure the coaches feel like they're back into a rhythm. I'm going to be kind of looking, I think, at that offensive line, Joey. I want to see if they've made the advances and grown from where they were last year, because to me, that's a key. And Jorgie will tell you, got to be able to run the ball.
No. You got to do it better than that. You got to get your full-on Jorgie voice, please.
Okay, run the ball.
That's better.
Okay. But if they've put on some weight, some muscle, if they've matured and just learned some more, they were pretty good last year. If they have come into their own this year, I think that's where it all starts. I think defense can be fine. Offensive line for me, Joe.
All right, Jerry Allen, voice of the Ducks. I think that I'd be remiss if I didn't say I'm curious to see what the quarterback looks like. Anthony Brown, of course, has taken all of the reps, as Coach Criswell talked about with the ones, but what does that backup position look like? Is it going to be a 5-star guy like a Ty Thompson who came in early? Is it going to be a Jay Butterfield who the coaches have been really happy with and the steps that he's taken? I'm like everybody. I think I'm going to be watching that quarterback spot a little bit too.
I don't think we're going to know that until we get about probably 2 weeks into fall camp, too. I think they're going to hold that pretty tight to the vest. They got some great competition there. And I know Anthony Brown's going to do the job. I mean, he's talented. He's a veteran. He'll get it done. But I'm always, like you, more interested in, do they have a quality backup? Because if a guy gets hurt, got to have somebody step up and not put you in a hole right away.
I'm curious, too, Jerry, as we talk a little bit about just some of these position groups. We've heard a lot about these young wide receivers coming in. Franklin, for example, is one that has drawn a lot of eyes. And, I think that it's always interesting when you have a position group like Oregon's wide receivers that are so deep and have so many guys returning, like a Johnny Johnson, who's, I think, a real leader of this team. And then we're also still hearing about all these young guys. I think the depth at the receiver position is something that I'm excited about.
Not only the depth, but the ability to do some different things with some big targets. I think they're going to be able to probably do some routes and do some things against some competition with that height advantage and that size. And don't forget, I think they're going to have 2, if not 3, really good tight ends as part of that. Let's call them a receiver group. So that's an area that could be a really bright spot, knowing that Oregon's got two really talented running backs coming back.
Yeah, and it's interesting. We're going to hear from Bobby Williams. He talked with the media a little bit ago. We're going to hear from him coming up, talking special teams and tight ends. He said they've got 8 guys, including walk-ons at that tight end position, and so you might see the tight ends get utilized a little bit more within Joe Moorhead's offense. I think that's a great point. And, Jerry, I think it's cool, too, talking about the running backs, trying to take a little bit of pressure off Travis Dye. He's been so effective as a returner. He's actually not been working at returner as much in practice, but I think that's just a testament to how darn good he is. You talk about C.J. Verdell, you talk about Travis Dye, that might be the best 1-2 combo in the country.
No, and Oregon's had some really great 1-2 combos, really been blessed in that. But Dye's one of those guys, I think they've got some other options as returners because you want to keep your running backs healthy. If you've got guys that are quality enough, that are good enough to be returners, you don't have to use them there. That's a bonus. But he's also one of those guys, Joe, that you got to find a way to get him on the field every down you can where the ball's in play. So, yeah, it's a credit to him and what he is. But I think they've got returners this year. I really do.
You've called a lot of spring games, Jerry. I mean, what do you look for at the end of a spring game apart from did everybody get out of it healthy?
Well, I think you're not going to see a whole lot because coaches, even though they're installing offense and getting the defense set, they're not going to show you a lot. It's going to be on radio. It's going to be on ESPN, and everybody in college football is going to watch it. So they're going to try to pick it apart and see what Oregon's doing. So we're not going to see anything new and extravagant and flashy. So what you want to see is how well the guys do the fundamentals. You have a receiver that can get off the line of scrimmage and get away from a cornerback or a safety or a linebacker and create some space. Is the offensive line giving the quarterback some time to operate and do what they want to do? Fundamentally, is this a solid football team? And are they still in that penalty mistake mode? They had some problems with that last year. And the other big issue I'm going to watch for this year, I wanted to ask the coach the other day, but I did not, and that is how are they and how do you work on that turnover takeaway ratio? Wasn't good last year, Joe.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Coach has talked a lot about how you got to take care of the football, and then Tim DeRuyter, I've had the chance to talk with him a few times, and the new Oregon defensive coordinator, he wants to attack. He wants to take away the football. It's kind of hard to, say that one's good, one's bad, one's otherwise in the spring game because if you turn the ball over, then, shoot. But the defense did something. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, I think, when you talk about these. At the end of the day, this is the 15th practice, right? This is really just a scrimmage and an evaluation day. I think particularly defensively, Jerry, I mean, we know what Kayvon Thibodeau can do. We know what Noah Sewell can do. The Ducks have had the back-to-back defensive freshman of the year in the Pac-12. I mean, these are talented guys. For me, it's also what does the rest of that defensive line look like? How does Popo develop? We're going to hear from him later in the show. How do some of those guys along the defensive line go about replacing some veterans like Jordan Scott and Austin Fowley? I'm looking for the depth on the defensive line, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, that's always so important because it's a physical game and guys get banged up. And it's sometimes your defense is in there like 10 or 12 plays in a row, and you need to be able to rotate guys in. Mace Funa, I think, is going to be really important this year. Isaac Slade Matautia, he's a leader, a really leader. And you're right, I think Popo is going to be really important. But it's the guys, the backup guys. So we'll get a chance to see some of the depth tomorrow with the freshmen and redshirt freshmen. And some of the guys who are saying – are really capable of stepping on the field right away over the summer months as they learn the book and it becomes automatic instead of a thinking process.
Yeah. He's Jerry Allen. He's the voice of the Ducks. Him and Mike Jorgensen will have the call from the booth at Autzen Stadium starting at 2 o'clock tomorrow across the Oregon Sports Network, goducks.com/radio, where you can tune in your area. Also, it's going to be televised on Pac-12 Network. We always encourage you to sync it up because who wants to not listen to Jerry and Jorgie? I understand if you don't want to listen to me since I'll be roaming around in the stadium, but Jerry and Jorgie make up for it, I promise. Yeah, what else, Jerry? I mean, after this game is over, I feel like now we're all circling the, dare I say, the Fresno State game on your calendars?
Yeah, it's sort of uncharted territory because last year at this time we were so let me use the word discombobulated. I mean, we didn't know where we were going. We weren't sure where we'd come from. Was there going to be a fall season? Things were just up in the air. I think after this spring game, Joe, I really think that we're going to have a chance to get those football magazines, start going through opposition's teams, start planning on a game every week, and really getting back into a rhythm of summertime breaks, enjoy ourselves, but start looking ahead what's going to be some normalcy come fall.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I hope so. You know, it's going to be weird not having fans cheering for this team in Autzen Stadium. As Coach Cristobal said, you know, the Oregon spring game is like nothing else on the West Coast. I mean, attendance-wise, the last few years, Jerry, Oregon's single spring game attendance has been more people than the other 11 Pac-12 schools combined in terms of attendance. I mean, it's amazing to think about that. And fans, we know. We can't wait to have you back in Autzen Stadium. And Jerry, you and I had to sit and stare at that big scoreboard and nice sound system. I think that thing's massive. And
it's like going to Disney World. The first time you go into Disney World, you see that great big ball and then all the features and everything go with it. It's like eye-opening. It's just fun. And I think fans are really going to enjoy watching the game, and they will watch a lot of the game on that big screen. How about having a video board at each end of the stadium and a new sound system that's going to make even you sound good?
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Makes Don Essig. I said this when I talked with Rob Mullins earlier this week. You know, Don Essig's voice has never sounded so good. I mean, these speakers are all right. I'm going to be the audio nerd for everybody again. All right, and shout out Chuck Poe. The decibel drop around the entire bowl of the stadium now is plus or minus 2 dB.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, everybody, that's like if I yelled across the stadium, you would hear it at the same volume as if you were standing right in front of me. I mean, that's what this thing does, and it's amazing. So the fan experience, I wish that everybody was there to see it tomorrow, and everyone, we just cannot wait until you're back at Autzen when things are safe to do so. Hey, Jerry, lastly, I just want to shout out again to Food for Lane County. I mean, normally there'd be massive amounts of donations that come in as part of the spring game. We'd also be honoring the military in a way on the field that the fans would be able to see. And foodforlanecounty.org. So everybody who's tuning in virtually instead of being there in person, remember that's part of the spring game tradition as well. $1 equals 3 meals. Foodforlanecounty.org. Huge impact to the community. Really hope that everybody gets involved because, well, Jerry, you're going to have to paint a picture for everybody tuning in, right?
Well, yeah, there's no doubt about it, you know, and I haven't done that for a while. I'm going to have to get back into that. But I just want to go back over what you said from Food for Lane County. So many families this year because of COVID either lost their job or one of the family members, a wife, husband, significant other, lost their job. There have been years in the past when a lot of people have said, oh, you know, I was going to donate at the game or I was going to send a couple of bucks in and maybe I'll do it next year. This is the year to not forget. I still don't think we understand, and it may be years away before we understand the impact of what COVID had on just the average family in Lane County who was going with so much less than we're used to having. So I hope people will go, okay, I'm not going to forget this year. This year, I'm going to do something.
Yeah, not to mention the wildfires and everything else that's been going on. I love that. Jerry Allen's the voice of the Ducks. He and Mike Jorgensen have the call across the Oregon Sports Network, goducks.com/radio for all the various ways to tune in. And I'll be roaming around in the stadium as well as we'll have the broadcast for you coming up 2 o'clock. It's going to be fun, Jerry.
I just got the new forecast. Rain is not going to be too heavy, but they said inch and a half before the game's over. So Jerry. You're not buying that, are you?
No. You know, I actually said this to Scott earlier today because I pulled what we affectionately call a Jerry Allen in the office, which is I said something that was just totally untrue, waited for a long pause, and then Scott went, you serious? You serious? You serious? And, Jerry, you've rubbed off on me.
That's a good thing. It's going to be beautiful tomorrow, okay? It's going to be beautiful.
Thanks, Jerry.
I'm trying to decide if it is a good thing or not. What do you think, Scott?
Scott doesn't care. Scott's going to be inside, you know, popcorn,
Jerry's not going to get wet either way, you know. He's
That's
up in the booth, so he doesn't care.
It's colder up there, though.
Yeah, that's
colder in the press box than it is on the field when it's cold out. Because Jerry gets the wind and everything else.
As long as there's a cookie.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I just hope there's cookies for all of our sakes. All right.
Yeah.
Jerry Allen is the voice of the Ducks. Jerry, I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and let's have a good broadcast, huh?
All right. Hey, I can't wait. We're back. Let's do it and get back to normal, Joe.
Yeah, 2 o'clock. The Ducks taking on themselves inside Autzen Stadium for the annual spring game. Foodforlanecounty.org to make that donation. Bye, Jerry. All right, we're going to get a break. When we come back, how about Joe Salave'a? Let's hear a little bit from him. Also, Bobby Williams, Oregon special teams coach, tight ends coach. Got a lot more to get to as we preview tomorrow's spring game here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to really volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor charge characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics. This is the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter, Brooklyn, was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio, calling all cookie lovers. Scott Phillips is one of them. Hey, Crumble Cookies, fastest growing cookie company in America. Now they've got over 150 flavors. They actually just told me, I got an email yesterday. It was like, hey, we heard you say it was 120 flavors. It's actually 150 now because we added churro, Reese's, Oreo flavor cookies. Yeah. They're actually coming to Roseburg. New location off Mulholland Drive coming in about May, we think. Crumble Cookies continuing to expand. I am all here for Crumble Cookies. How about Joe Salave'a? He met with the media today for, really long time, actually. About 12 and a half minutes. We'll be able to listen to most of what Joe Salave'a had to say as Scott Phillips put together some of the greatest hits from the press conference with Coach Joe.
Joe, where does Popo have to make the next step? What has he been working on?
You just hit it on the head. I think right now he's in a good place. I think he understands the responsibility of being that presence in the middle now with the amount of reps and I think renewed sense of health. He's been nicked up in the last few seasons, but so far, man, he's truly playing up to what we've always known all along. He's a big body that has a good athleticism, but man, heavy hand striker. So looking to build on that, and so far the spring camp for Popo has been a positive one. And I think just immersing himself to play in that physicality world. Obviously the line of scrimmage is never a glitz and glamour one, but with him, that's the other piece. As he continues to mature and grow into that responsibility, you'll see a different Popo going into the fall camp.
Joe, this is you're in Mario's 5th spring here now, and I'm just curious, like when you first took the job here, like what did you want to get out of it, and then how has that kind of evolved throughout your time here, along with kind of like your relationship with Mario?
But we've been both fortunate and blessed to play among some very good outfits with Coach at Miami and with us at obviously at Arizona. But they told me there's a blue collar mentality that was surrounding the program in both respects. So coming here was more bringing that culture and that mentality. Now, those things are not prophesied. You have to work it into existence. And I think those are the things that are going to be the premium building blocks of our program. It was never about the scheme, more so the commitment to the process. And that's one of the biggest things that's been thrown around, but hard to execute in every level. So, for us, man, we're just so fortunate to have cultivate that culture here. And the great thing about it, the guys understand that we have miles and miles to go in that regard. But as far as the standard and the way we train, it ain't for everybody. And those are the things that it's clear, it's crystal clear with our staff. And it's just really fortunate to have a head coach that truly walks that belief.
Joe, you have several guys, Keon, Christian, Suave. They still have the redshirt freshman next to their name because the COVID year, but obviously they've been around for a while now. Do you sense they're developed to the point where they're ready to kind of take a major role this year?
They are right now. I think those are the goals that we set down. We all met with the guys before we even kicked off spring ball, just to make a claim for themselves to really attack this camp as a fall camp mentality like we've always done. And you seeing the tremendous growth in Keon. Keon is really playing with power, and so great to see him come out of, again, that young state that he was a year ago. But again, this is the first time for everybody to have spring ball. So it's, I believe it's a new profound respect to have football back again, and our guys are truly maximizing every day. And Suave, again, he's another young athlete that really developing a good pass rush, but he's also a technician. So again, the amount of reps that the guys are having, it's very high quality reps, and that's the biggest thing as we evaluate post practice, the film. Those things sticks out. These guys are truly competing. So we really have a real high competition going on within our defensive front room, but it needs to be for us to grow and get to the level that we know we can be. That's the only way. And those guys have embraced that, and they're helping each other out. They're challenging each other. And, we get to go against one of the premier offensive line in the country. So your work is really quality. Either you bring your work or you're going to get taken to the shed by our guys. And Coach Mirabal does a tremendous job with the outfit on the offensive line to highlight the competition that we're seeing every day.
Joe, I wanted to get your insight on a couple of the second-year freshmen, on Jason and Mikhail. What have you seen from them?
I think that's the biggest thing right now. It's just moving forward type of operation. We've also been moving guys around, mix and match guys with the 2s and the 1s and 1s and the 3s. And Jason and obviously has continues to show up and continues to take more steps towards his development. And that is so great to see, because he is truly a athletic big man that's now starting to grow into his body, but his mentality continues to develop. You're going to see a lot more of Jason play a big part in our defensive front, with Mikhail. Again, he's another young man that's truly starting to come on his own. And again, without competition, it's really hard to gauge where these guys are at. But luckily for us, they get to really be contested by a premium offensive line every day. And, those things you can't take for granted. And it's really help us sort of adjust our approach with each individual guys in our room, as far as the fundamentals, the footwork, the eye discipline, but also just the sheer mentality of being physical, because again, when you're going against the outfit that Coach Cristobal and Coach Mirabal have on that side of the ball, you want to embrace it. And our guys see that. They know that Big Steven Jones and all of them on the other side of the ball, they're giving them a great look that you may not get until game day. And so just to highlight on those. And then you got Keanu Williams, who's an early enrollee. He hadn't played for almost a year and a half, almost 2 years of high school ball. And he's a big body that's athletic, but he's just now getting the rust off of being a high school athlete. So to say competition is going on in our room is really understating the fact that these guys are really challenging one another. We're always trying to build the bendability within the room and our front up at the defensive line. But again, you only get that by showing up every day and performing to gain the trust of the other 10 guys surrounding the position. So we're looking forward to continue the press on with our guys now, but very, very excited for where we're headed from 3 weeks ago to now. Unbelievable. And that's just a direct effect on them, on the guys buying into the process. Again, the process is never pretty, never glitz and glamour. But if you don't respect the process, those things will never come in fruition in whatever goals that we have. But our goal is to be most physical and dominant at the line of scrimmage. It will never change.
Popo yesterday was talking about being kind of interchangeable, the spots on the defensive line. How accurate is that? Are guys playing a lot of different spots in practice? Will it be a spot where you could see somebody kind of rotate all the way across it over the course of a game or a season, or kind of what's that going to look like? Is that any different?
Those things are always meticulous. You also got to prepare. You gotta adjust things. This past year really highlighted those things with guys not being available for 2 weeks at a time and all those things. So you cannot sit here and say that things are going to be lined up just how we planned it. So, with that said, you had to prepare and make adjustment and be ready for those so that when it does come up, guys are not overwhelmed, right? And it's been good. We've been really working on making sure that guys are getting a chance to align at a different spot that they might not be normally at. But again, in a spirit of building that dependable depth, it's really important, that we make sure that we're always as a staff evaluating those things and making sure that we have our ducks lined up for whatever comes at us.
Joe, obviously, Tim inherits a pretty special guy in Kayvon on the outside. When you have a player of that caliber, how does that kind of impact your guys inside and the defense as a whole? And what do you think of what you can do with him in this new system of Tim's?
Well, I think Kayvon is going to continue to work on his craft. The beauty of that, we have also the other guys that are truly coming on. Brandon Dorlis is a guy that's, again, had a breakout year last year just from a confidence and being productive. But I think having Kayvon there, I think everybody understands the level that they all must be playing at. And so as KT continues to improve with Coach DeRuiter and the things that, because we all cross-train, we work with those guys as well with certain things. And so he's able to hear the same verbiage and the pair of eyes to help each and every one, especially KT, in the little things that he needs to improve upon. It's going to maximize his opportunities.
Joe Salave'a, pretty darn good player in Kayvon Thibodeau, huh? Joe Salave'a, the Oregon defensive line coach, met with the media a little earlier today, previewing the 2 o'clock spring game coming up tomorrow on Saturday. When we return, we're going to hear from Popo, guy who's really, I think, taken on a leadership role for this team. Going to talk with Popo next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local country representative.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. We're inside the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks for being with us. William Askin he says, I know Coach KG said he likes a smaller team. 7-person team will be hard to overcome. An injury or two, do we know if they have any transfers coming in, especially after T-Mac left? Yeah, Taylor, Mike Sell announcing today that she's heading to Ohio State, wishing her the best. And, you know, to answer your question, William, I don't know, except that I will say I think a coaching staff always has their eye on the future, and they're always looking at those different scenarios. But we'll probably talk with Coach Graves, I would imagine, in the coming months, probably before we get into the summertime. Oregon football spring game coming up tomorrow, 2 o'clock start. Jerry and Jorgie will have the call. And earlier this week, as we continue to talk a little bit about the defensive line, I think Popo has really stepped up. Popo Amave is a guy who is going to make a big impact for Oregon. And staying on the field, I think, for more snaps is going to be a real key for him. As you just heard Joe Salave'a discuss, well, what Popo have to say heading into the spring game?
Popo, when you guys are in the 2-down line a lot, are you usually in the 0 and shade still, or when you're 2 down, do the 2 tackles move to traditional 3s, or are you still able to be a 0 or a shade when it's 2 down?
So we incorporated both 3-man front and 4-man front. So on the playbook, there's no specific nose or tackle. They just both say like they have both letter T, which means we're both tackles. So everybody's interchangeable now on this defense, and I like that a lot. So I'll be playing both nose all the way to 4-eye sometimes.
Hey, Popo, how has the offensive line progressed from this year to from last year? Because that's been one of the biggest talks of the spring so far, is how much they've improved.
Just from communication, everybody's taking positive steps, and I think communication, I see them communicate way more than they did last year, even just in practice. So, I mean, besides the strength and conditioning that we do, communication has been huge for me, that I've noticed for them as well.
Popo, you're one of the veterans of the defensive line now. How is it different in the defensive line meeting room now that you're, kind of the veteran of the group?
It's different. I mean, coach kind of relies on me, like, as a leadership, and being a veteran is allowing me to step into that leadership role more over these younger guys, especially with the new freshmen that just came in. And I'm really enjoying it. It's new, definitely, but a lot of leadership roles for me. So
how do you evaluate success for you? Because if I ask this for like any defensive tackle, Popo, because for fans especially, they're just going to look at tackles, and sometimes it's not always production. They don't understand that filling up gaps is a major responsibility. So
kind of like you said, filling gaps is a huge thing. And I look at it as just doing my 1/11th on the field at that time. And whether it's filling the gap and having the linebacker come in the other gap right next to me and make the tackle, then I'll take that as doing my job.
Popo, you guys are losing a couple of people along the defensive front with Austin and Jordan's departures. What do you feel is a strength of this defensive line right now in spring, and how do you feel about the depth going into next year?
I feel like we have great depth. The young guys are insanely talented and super strong. So I'm very excited. And even the guys who were here last year, who made a big step, like Dorlis, Keon, and Christian, I'm very excited to see them as well. I think we have plenty of depth on the D-line and plenty of playmakers to come.
Jordan Scott kind of was in the middle of that defensive line for 4 straight years there. What would you say now that he's gone were the big things you learned from him?
Fundamentals, a lot of fundamentals from him. I mean, he taught me how to take on a bump combo, which is definitely hard when you got 200-300 pounders on top of you. But he taught me really how to play nose along with Coach Joe. When I first came in, I was too afraid to ask Coach Joe certain questions. I would lean to Jordan, and he would always have an answer for me. So I wish him luck in the draft, especially with all the other Oregon drafts. Wish them luck today. So
awesome. Awesome to see from Popo. That's awesome to hear him talking to, I think, just about being a leader. And I loved his statement there of, I just try to do my 1/11th on the field. Don't you love that? Like that's kind of the idea of, it's a team sport. And that's what Popo's talking about there. Steven asking, have you ever interviewed Aaron Feld? Just wondering. Oh, absolutely. Aaron Feld is one of our favorites. We have a lot of fun talking with Aaron Feld, and man, what a job he has done with this football program and the strength and conditioning. It's pretty amazing to see. But yeah, we're looking forward to having him probably on a coach's show here coming up in the fall. Also, our friends at Hoodoo, you can always head to hoodoo.com. Check out road cams, webcams, and snow conditions still this time of year. Don't you love that? Isn't that the best? It's crazy. Our friends at Hoodoo always bringing you Duck Insider. Coming up next, Bobby Williams. We're going to talk special teams and tight ends as we head into tomorrow's spring game at 2 o'clock. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Freedom, Toyota hybrids say, let's go, faster and further, with 10 hybrid models to choose from and tons of top tech. The best part? Every Toyota hybrid offers an extended hybrid battery warranty for 10 years or 150,000 miles. So let's go places. Toyota hybrids.
For Toyota hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and fuel cell and battery electric vehicles beginning with model year 2020. The hybrid HV battery is covered for 10 years from original date of first use or 150,000 miles, whichever comes first. Coverage is subject to terms and conditions of your new vehicle limited warranty. See owner's warranty and maintenance guide for details.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield IMG College.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in the back of your closet. What happened to us? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Okay, maybe I never really fit you right, but I got a lot more Sunday fun days left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff, create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
We are back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack here inside the Country Financial Studio, and today's show is brought to you by Shadow Hills Country Club, your family resort just minutes from home. Call for a tour today. It's a great place to play golf. For those of you who actually are good at golf, unlike me. Bobby Williams, he met with the media today, Oregon Special Teams Coordinator and tight ends coach. Wears a few different hats, and he talked about all those different hats here with the media today.
From a return perspective, Travis Dye said he won't be doing punts this spring to focus on running back. Kind of who are some of the guys we can expect to see on Saturday returning kicks and punts?
Well, we've been looking at quite a few guys, but Josh Delgado and Chris Hudson, we've had Johnny Johnson back there. They've all done a great job. Micah Pittman, don't want to leave him out. And then some of our young guys like Jeffrey Bossa, Troy. Troy's been back there, and so we've gotten quite a number of guys that we're looking at, and we've been very happy with how they've been doing.
Bobby, if you include walk-ons, I think you have 8 tight ends, and they're all listed between like 6'6" and 6'8" and 230 and 258. Is there a plan in year 2 with Moorhead to maybe get more of those guys on the field?
Well, we've got an opportunity to look at it. I mean, we went from a room to where we had, basically 2 guys in the first ball game to now we got 8. So, but we've been using some multiple tight end personnel packages and really getting a look at everybody.
How do you approach kicker? Is that still Henry's job and his to hold on to, or is that a wide open competition starting in the spring and for Cam and everything else?
Well, we've created a lot of competition in practice with our specialists, and both Henry and Camden have been competing, going back and forth. So, we're very happy with their development. How we've, transitioned from all the different things, different type of kicks, the pressure that we've tried to put them under in the must-make field goal situation. But they've been competing well, and we want to keep that opportunity, keep it open.
You mentioned you guys are down a couple bodies last year at tight end and only had 2 or 3 scholarship guys most of the season. What's it been like having your full complement this spring, and kind of has there been anyone that's differentiated themselves from each other, or is this still pretty wide open in your mind going into the spring game?
Well, the one thing we've been able to do was get a lot of work out of all these guys, so we've had some personnel groupings where we've only had 1 tight end out there. We've had some where we've had 2. So they've all gotten a lot of work, really been pleased with, our new tight ends. We got 2 new freshmen, Moliki Monteval and Terrence Ferguson. They've come right in and jumped and, learned the system, and they've been showing that they're going to be in a position where they're going to be able to compete.
Bobby, as someone who worked with Mario a lot earlier in his coaching career, I'm just curious what you've seen as kind of the biggest evolution in his coaching style, or how he's kind of grown as a coach since dating back to your time together at Alabama.
Well, he's very hands-on, very detailed. He's in all aspects of, the offense, the defense, the special teams, and then all the administrative things that come with being a head coach. And this is a second opportunity, and man, he's done a fantastic job of managing all the situations that come up. It's not an easy chair to sit in, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. But he's had to replace several staff members over the past few years, and he's done a great job with that.
Bob, what's the next step for Tom Snee? I think for a first-year guy last year, performed really well. In fact, his average wasn't that far below where Blake was the year before. What's kind of the next step for him, and kind of how have you seen his spring take part?
Well, Tom's had a really good spring. He's been averaging. We've put him on a lot of pressure. He still has some things to improve upon, but he's progressed very well. He's gotten stronger. He's really worked on things from how he drops on the punt, how he strikes the ball. The direction part of it, the things that we're trying to do to place the ball in different areas of the field. So he's had a fantastic spring in my mind, and I think he's going to continue to grow.
Bobby, when you have guys like Spencer and Patrick who miss all of last season, or spent almost all of last season, I know he got in the bowl game, but when they miss all of it, or damn near all of it, how do you keep them engaged throughout last season? And also, how have you seen each of them improve and develop?
Well, both of them have done a great job of rehabbing and getting themselves back to a point where they're able to go through spring, and they've been out there every day, and they've been going at it really good, and it seems like Patrick hadn't played football in a long time because he came in as a true freshman, didn't really play, got hurt last year, missed that season. So really this spring is really the first opportunity he's gotten to play in full speed football. And he's really come back well. That was a pretty significant injury that he had. It wasn't a surgical situation for him, but he was able to come back, rehab, and he's gone through the whole spring, and he's done really very well.
What's kind of your sense of this team just being around them again full time this spring?
Well, every team, every year is different because you have new leadership, and then you bring in, several new freshmen. They have to come in and try to learn and buy into the culture. But what it seems like this spring is that, there's a general vibe that these guys want to be successful, and whatever we ask them to do, they seem to go over and beyond the fact that trying to strive to do the things that we stress. And you see it on a day-to-day basis, and and the guys want to be coached, and when we coach them hard, they respond very well.
Chemistry of this team pretty darn good. I think that you heard that there from Bobby Williams, a guy who's been around football a long time in his career, and he's seen a lot of pretty darn good teams. 2 o'clock kickoff for the spring game tomorrow on Pac-12 Network and broadcast right here on the Oregon Sports Network as well. When we come back, we're going to hear a little bit from Spencer Webb as we zero in on the tight ends and final weekend preview for the Ducks after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
On March 5th, 2021, we lost a larger-than-life member of the Oregon Ducks family. Chris Bjork passed away surrounded by his wife Allison and their 3 sons, Anders, Henry, and Jordy. After spending more than 26 years working with the University of Oregon, we are proud to establish the Chris Bjork Scholarship Fund in his honor. Go to goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship. That's goducks.com/Bjork Scholarship to make a contribution and help us remember a great Duck.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union inside the Country Financial Studio. I'm Joey Mack, and today's show is brought to you by our friends at North Fork Public House, open for takeout, northforkeugene.com. Going to hear a little bit from Spencer Webb as we finish up the show today, a guy who, well, he's been through the wars a little bit, as he discussed here, talking about his career and what you can expect from the Oregon tight end this season.
How has this spring been, being able to finally be able to practice full go? And
honestly, it's been a blessing. Last year, I had to sit out and stuff, and that was the first time my whole life that I couldn't play, football every day. So, I've taken it for granted, and I'm having fun out there and making plays. And it's good to be around the guys again too. When you get hurt, you feel like a lot of people forget about you, but it's been fun.
Hey Spencer, year 2 here of Joe Moorhead. As a tight end in this offense, what do you think are some of the things that are going to grab some people's attention this season?
I mean, honestly, just, getting us out in space, we're big guys. And, obviously you saw DJ last year, he was out in space a lot, and seeing him make plays. So, there's there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of wrinkles. You know, obviously I don't want to disclose too much, but I'm excited just to see where it goes because it's definitely grown from last year. And yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a great offense. You know, I love Coach Moorhead and I love his philosophy and how he uses the tight end.
Spencer, obviously with the Auburn game, we saw right away you could impact the team catching the ball and making plays in the passing game. What kind of blocker were you on that day and how much have you improved in that area?
We always talk about from my freshman year when I came in, I was like 220. You know, I was little and, you know, even the next year I jumped back up to like 260 and now I'm back down to 240. But this year I feel stronger. You know, I feel like the technique's starting to come down. I'm starting to hit people when they move. And, you know, me, you know, B-Dub, Coach Chris Paul, we've been really working on technique and how much that improves your game. And, you know, just as time's been going on and I've, you know, been learning and stuff, the technique's starting to come and it's starting to get to second nature for me. So I'm having fun doing it too. I honestly like blocking a lot more than I do running routes now.
Really? I don't hear that from a lot of people, but man, that's what they always say. The biggest transition for anybody coming into college isn't necessarily the speed, it's the blocking. It's different at the high school level than it is here at the Division I level. That's good stuff from Spencer Webb. Hey, a quick note, too, today. Oregon again fought hard against a highly ranked opponent in beach volleyball, but ultimately fell to number 11 Cal 3-0 in the elimination bracket of the Pac-12 Championship this morning. So the Ducks finish up the season at 8-11 this year, setting a program single-season wins record and winning a match at the Pac-12 Championships for the second time in program history. Pretty darn cool. It was also the first time that Oregon went through a season with a roster made up entirely of beach-only players. I think that's an important note, right? It was a lot of crossover that we saw in the indoor and now the beach rosters, and really that couldn't have been done this year because those two seasons overlapped with the volleyball season moving, the indoor volleyball season that is moving to the spring. So for Matt Ulmer, Dave Butler, Janice, everybody, man, they did a great job with this program, and I think as it continues to grow and you see more of the sort of separation between the two sports, man, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool to see that. So congratulations to the beach volleyball squad. Hey, Oregon baseball coming your way tonight, a 5:45 pregame show from up in Pullman. Our buddy Trevor Williams is going to have the call for you. And, man, Mitchell Lee's going to be back in the OSN studio. This is Mitchell's show tonight. I'm just going to be tuning in. Yeah, what's that going to be like? I don't know. It's going to be a little weird. Ducks, though, for Oregon baseball, sitting at 26-9. They're tied for first in the Pac-12 standings right now. So this is a huge weekend. Huge weekend as Oregon baseball will face off with the Cougars up in Pullman. Also, good luck to Oregon softball. The Ducks in action at 5 o'clock today. You can tune in on the Pac-12 networks. Man, there's just so much excitement because we got the spring game tomorrow. 2 o'clock kickoff. Oregon in the spring game. Remember, foodforlanecounty.org to get those donations in. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys?